Seasons. One day at the end of the winter, 3 bark beetles knocked angrily on Leapy's door.
We wanted to dress up as princes for the party, but the 3 fleas are going to be princes. And that's not good. Our crowns and capes are all ready, but we can't wear them. Oh, please help us. Have you got any ideas what we could wear?
They all shouted at once.
Maybe you could be 3 snowballs, because everything is covered in snow outside. It would be easy to make the costumes.
Oh, no. That's no good, Leapy. We'd melt the minute we walked into Balthazar's house. We'd turn into a puddle on the floor in no time at all.
Then you could go as cutlery, a knife, a fork and a spoon. You'd only need silver foil.
That's a super idea, Leapy. But we haven't got any silver foil. And we haven't got enough time before tomorrow to get some. We need to think of something simpler.
What do you say to a camel? That's perfect for the 3 of you. A head and 2 humps.
Yes, but the ants went as a camel last year, so it's been done. We need to think of something new. And what are you going as, Leapy?
The bark beetles asked.
I don't know. I still haven't decided.
The grasshopper girl hesitated.
Then the 4 of us could go together,
the boys suggested.
OK, but what could we go as? 4 flowers? Or 4 devils?
Maybe 4 stars or 4 planets,
the bark beetles listed.
That's not good enough. We need to go as something that there are only 4 of. Only 4, no more, no less. I know the perfect thing. The 4 seasons.
Yes, that's perfect,
the bark beetle said and jumped up and down.
There are 4 seasons. Leapy can be spring because that's girly. And we can dress up as summer, autumn and winter.
They all got hard to work. Leapy sewed herself a pink dress and decorated it with white flowers. She put a pink flower crown on her head. She looked so pretty that the bark beetles all blushed when they saw her. The 3 boys' costumes were soon finished. Summer wore green with a sun on his tummy and a leaf on his hat. Autumn wore all yellow, covered in colourful leaves. Winter's costume was blue, with lots and lots of snowflakes. The next day, they all set off to Balthazar's house for the fancy dress party. The bumblebee was dressed as a fireman. He warmly welcomed Leapy and the bark beetles.
The 4 seasons have arrived.
Eddie was dressed as a carrot, Bubble as a rocket, Betty as a drop of water, Rosita as a bird, Zephyr as a bus ticket, Morris as a sugar cube, Flutter as a banana, Dolly as a sweetie, and Charlie as a dog. The forest friends voted for the best costume. And of course, the 4 seasons won. Stanley came second with his rainbow costume. Third place went to the snails, to Berry and Sam, who came dressed as a train. Everybody was very happy, and the 3 fleas came to congratulate the winners. Berry's picture. One cloudy afternoon, Dolly the Ladybird girl took out her brushes and paints.
I'm going to paint a rainbow,
she decided.
Good idea, Berry agreed. And I'm going to paint a bunch of flowers.
They both got straight to work. Dolly carefully painted the coloured lines of a rainbow, and Berry worked hard on his bunch of flowers. He painted 3 tulips, a harebell and a daisy.
I only need to paint a ribbon and it's done. I have to hurry because Stanley, Balthazar and Bubble are coming over this afternoon.
But just then, Dolly knocked a glass over that was standing in the middle of the table, and water poured all over Berry's painting. The lovely, colourful painting began to run and the lines all smudged.
Dolly, you ruined my painting.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. It was an accident.
But it's still ruined.
Berry sulked and stamped out of the door.
I'm going home.
Berry, wait! Let's try and fix it,
Dolly said, sounding rather unsure, but the snail boy didn't even look back. In the meantime, the clouds vanished and the sky cleared. When Berry got home, he put his soaked painting out in the sunshine. His picture very soon dried, but now it was crinkly and blotchy. Berry stared sadly at his painting, and then he gave a big sigh and threw it down on his bed.
Balthazar, Stanley and Bubble will be here soon. I need to tidy up.
The door soon opened and his little friends appeared.
Hi, Berry.
We're here.
And we brought the cards with us too. Come inside.
The snail boy invited them in and they sat around the table. Balthazar shuffled the cards, Stanley dealt, and they started to play. Bubble was soon out of the game. He was strolling around the room and he noticed the picture lying on the bed. He picked it up and stared at it in awe.
Goodness me, Berry, it's beautiful. Did you paint it?
He asked inquisitively. Berry was surprised and stuttered.
Yes, I painted it.
They all began to question Berry. Was it your idea? Will you show us how you did it? Stanley quizzed.
How did you make it so beautiful?
Asked Balthazar. Berry just shrugged and said,
Yes, it was my idea. It's no big deal. I'd love to show you how to make one.
Just then, Dolly walked into the house. She was carrying a large plate of cakes and offered it shyly to Berry.
I baked these, Berry. I'm sorry that I ruined your picture.
The others all stared at Berry in confusion. Mumbled Balthazar.
So it wasn't really your idea? It wasn't my idea. It all happened by accident, Berry began. Dolly knocked the water over, the colours all ran and the painting went all wobbly. I put it out in the sun to dry and then I decided to keep it and not throw it away. It's a good job you didn't throw it away. Could I have it? A lovely bunch of flowers like this would look just lovely on a flower beetle's wall. Of course you can have it, Bubble. I'm sorry that I got so cross.
I'm not upset with you, Berry. I brought my rainbow painting with me and I'd like you to have it.
Thank you, Dolly. I love it. I'm going to put it on the wall. Would you like to join our game?
The snail boy asked Dolly.
I'd love to. And we can eat cake at the same time,
the Ladybird girls said with glee. Pebbles. One sunny summer afternoon, Dolly decided to cook a strawberry cake. She asked Stanley the stag beetle and Balthazar the bee to go and collect wild strawberries in the forest. The two boys set off. Balthazar soon spotted a pebble in the middle of the path, and he started to kick it along. But Stanley also liked the look of the pebble, and he tackled it off Balthazar.
That's not fair, Stanley. I found it. I want to kick it down the path.
It's my pebble now. Find another pebble to kick.
But I found it, so it's mine,
Balthazar moaned. There are loads of pebbles. Find another one, Stanley said, trying to close the argument. But Balthazar wouldn't leave it at that. He pushed Stanley out of the way so that he could kick the pebble. The two of them continued to push and shove until they both tumbled down the hill into the babbling brook. Alfonso the cricket came out of his house to see what all the noise was about.
What's going on?
He asked.
It's all Stanley's fault. He took my pebble.
It wasn't your pebble. I was just a better kicker.
That's enough of that,
Alfonso interrupted.
Come inside, get dry, and then tell me all about what started this silly argument.
The two boys muttered to themselves as they followed the cricket into his little house. They hung their wet clothes out in the hot sun and sat wrapped in towels while they waited for them to dry. Alfonso gave them both a glass of lemonade and a biscuit. The sun's warm rays soon dried the clothes. Stanley and Balthazar munched sulkily on their biscuits. They told Alfonso all about what had happened and how they had rolled down the hill into the brook.
I've got a whole collection of pebbles.
Pebbles? Can we have a look?
Balthazar enthused.
Of course,
Alfonso said with a proud smile, and he placed a large box on the table. Where did you find all these lovely pebbles? Stanley asked.
Down by the brook. You can collect some too if you like.
They filled their baskets with pebbles. They sat sorting them and organising them until it started to get dark. The little stag beetle and the bee boy said goodbye to their cricket friend and started to walk back up the hill. They soon came to Dolly's house. The little ladybird girl shouted angrily out of the window.
Where are the strawberries?
Oh dear.
The strawberries?
We forgot the strawberries.
Dolly, look at the lovely pebbles we collected with Alfonso.
What am I supposed to do with them? Make pebble cakes? I asked for strawberries.
But we forgot,
Stanley admitted, and he told her the whole long story. Well, I see. Let me have a look at those pebbles, if you didn't bring any strawberries. We should paint something on them. This one looks just like a little house. And this one, I might paint a smiley face on it.
That's a super idea. We can invite the others and spend all day painting pebbles.
Great.
The next morning, Berry the little snail boy arrived at Dolly's house with Flutter the butterfly, Zephyr the dragonfly, Leapy the grasshopper, Eddie the potato beetle and Bubble the baby beetle.
Where are Stanley and Balthazar?
Berry asked with a disappointed sigh. Here we are, the stag beetle and the bee boy announced, and they proudly presented Dolly with a big basket of strawberries. Oh, thank you, the little ladybird girl said, and she mixed the cake while the others got to work painting the pebbles. When they had finished, they invited Alfonso to come and see their exhibition.
They all look really good. I'll bring my pebbles tomorrow and we can paint them too,
the cricket told his friends. When the strawberry cake was ready, they all sat around the table and ate every last crumb. The Yellow Ladybird. The spring had come at last. Dolly decided it was time to tidy up her flower garden. She got her spade and a rake and tied a pretty dotted scarf around her head. She had only just stepped outside when she heard someone groaning behind her house. "Christopher, your wing looks broken," the little ladybird exclaimed.
The sun shone in my eyes and I flew straight into a tree. I really hurt myself,
the canary said. Just then, Berry the snail and Stanley the stag beetle arrived. "Stanley, please go and get Dr. Owl. Christopher's wing's broken," Dolly said, taking control. Dr. Owl soon arrived. It looks like a very bad break," he said seriously. Then carefully and slowly he bandaged Christopher's broken wing.
"You know, Dolly,"
Christopher said one day,
"there's a little ladybird living on the island I come from."
"Really?
Is she red with black dots like me? Dolly asked excitedly. And what's her name? She's called Katie. Her back isn't red, it's yellow, but her dots are black like yours. She looks a lot like you. Why don't you come to meet her when my wing's better? That sounds like a super idea. Can Berry come too? Of course he can. There's enough room for both of you on my back. A few days later, Dr. Owl came to visit the injured canary. He was happy to say that Christopher's wing was as good as new. The canary thanked the owl for his help, put Berry and Dolly on his back, and headed for his island home. They soon found themselves flying over a large lake with a little island in the middle of the water. Can you see it? We're flying to that island. My nest is on top of the highest tree. Hold on tight, we're coming in to land. Christopher landed perfectly, and Berry and Dolly climbed down. You can't catch me, shouted a bright beetle in an orange dress. She was talking to the tiny fleas running after her. Watch out, Dolly shouted, but the girl beetle ran right into her. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to knock you over. My name's Katie. Who are you? Oh, you're Katie. We're here to see you. My name's Dolly, and I've come a long way to meet my ladybird cousin. Ladybird cousin? Katie asked with a puzzled smile. Yes, you've got black dots just like me, except you're yellow instead of red. Wow, you're right, the yellow ladybird said. Come with me and I'll show you my house, Katie said. As soon as they saw Katie's house, Berry and Dolly started to laugh. My house looks exactly like this, but mine's red. Berry, Dolly and Katie took a long walk around the island. There's the pine forest with the little stream running next to it. We built the bridge ourselves, Katie explained with pride. And what's that in the middle of the meadow? Berry asked. It looks like a slide. That's right. It's a special flower slide. Come with me. I'll show you. Can I have a go? Of course you can. Follow me, Katie said and slid down on the curvy slide. Berry, Dolly and Katie slid down the slide again and again until it started to get dark. It's getting late. Come on, you two, I'll take you home, Christopher said. Dolly and Katie swapped headscarves as a parting present. Have a safe trip home, Katie told them. Do visit me again sometime. It was getting very late by the time Christopher arrived at Dolly's dotty house. The moon shone and the sky was full of sparkling stars. Friends. It was a super sunny day and Dolly the ladybird sat staring out of the window. I'm going to eat breakfast, she thought, and then I'll go for a walk in the meadow. She decided to take her wheelbarrow with her. I wonder if I'll find something interesting to take home in my wheelbarrow, she thought to herself. Goodness me, said Dolly. What a lovely red cherry. That's just perfect for my lunch. She tried to lift the cherry into her wheelbarrow, but it was far too heavy. Too heavy for one little ladybird. Just then, Berry the snail appeared. Why the sad face, ladybird? Asked Berry. I can't lift this cherry into my wheelbarrow, Dolly replied. Don't cry, I'll help you, Berry said with a smile, and the two of them picked the cherry up with no trouble at all. Dolly set straight off home with the juicy cherry. Now it was Berry who looked sad. Don't you want to share the cherry with me? The snail said, and stamped his little foot. I did help you, I found it first, Dolly snapped. You're not having any, it's mine. Berry was very upset. The two of them started to fight over the cherry. It's mine, shouted Dolly. That's not fair, Berry shouted back. They pushed and pulled the cherry until it split clean in two. Berry and Dolly plopped to the ground. They were very surprised when a green grub crawled out of the cherry.
What have you done to my cherry?
He grumbled.
That cherry was my home. Oh, don't look so upset,
the grub said.
I know where we can find plenty more. You can eat cherries while I find a new home for myself.
Dolly helped the grub into her wheelbarrow, and they all set off to look for the cherry tree. When they arrived, they found the ground around the cherry tree was covered in ripe red fruit. Berry and Dolly jumped for joy. The grub fell fast asleep while Berry and Dolly munched away on fresh cherries, and the time soon flew by. It was getting late, so they decided to go home, but this time with 2 cherries, one for Dolly and one for Berry. The sun was setting by the time they reached Berry's house. They took his cherry out of the wheelbarrow and said goodbye. Berry went inside and waved to Dolly from the window. Berry soon fell fast asleep after such an exciting day. The little snail dreamt about playing in cherries with Dolly and eating until their tummies were full. Then Dolly got back home and went straight to bed. From that day on, Berry and Dolly were the best of friends.